Hello students, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be doing the back exercise questions for chapter 2 file handling from your NCERT class 12th computer science book. Okay. So the first question is differentiate between a text file and a binary file. So I have developed or made separate videos for each of these topics, and I will be giving the in the description box their links and linking them to the right side of this video as well. You can go and refer to these videos separately. In here, I'll explain these terms again shortly and you can refer to them also. Okay. So a text file basically contains the contents in the human readable form, which is rendered by a text editor, and this human readable form in characters and digits are converted into ASCII codes and stored internally, whereas a binary file itself contains all its contents in the form of bits, and those bits do not represent any kind of ASCII or Unicode characters. They are rendered or they can be displayed using separate different specific programs or softwares that are useful for binary files, and it is a little difficult to understand them, to debug them, because they are not in human readable form. Okay. Now coming to the read line and read lines function. So the read line function will read you a maximum of a single line from the file that you are reading from, and even if you specify the number of characters or you pass an argument to the read line function, those many characters will be read from the file. But in case those characters, the number exceeds the number of characters present in the line that is terminating with a /n, with a new line character, then the maximum number of characters that can be read will be only restricted up to a single line that is terminating with a /n character or the new line character. But the read lines function reads all the lines that are present in the file that you are reading, and all those lines that are read are returned in the form of a list. Okay, so the elements of the list will contain a single line. So every line that is present in the file will form a single element present in that list that is returned by the read lines function. Okay. Now, write and write lines function are also the same. Write is generally used to write a single string, whereas the write lines function takes as an argument an iterable object like a list, which can, that can be used to write multiple strings or multiple lines into the file at a given time. So that is the difference between the write and write lines function. Now coming to the second question. In the second question, you have to tell the use and the syntax for the following methods. So the use for these methods are: the open function is used to open a file, the read function is used to read a specific number of characters from the file, and in case you do not specify any argument to the read function, the entire file contents can be read. Okay, and it returns the number of characters that are read from the file. Now the seek function is used to change the offset of the file, and the dump function is used by the pickle module when we have to serialize a Python object and write its byte stream into a binary file. So the syntax, for the syntax of each of these, I have given the links in the description box. Please check them out and that will be helpful to you. Now coming to the third question. The third question says, write the file mode that will be used for opening the following files, and also write the Python statements to open the following files. Okay, so if you have to, in the first case, you have to open a text file called example.txt in both read and write mode. So what you will do, so this is the syntax of the open function you can see here. So we'll use the open function of Python. We'll write the name of the file that has to be opened, which is example.txt, and since it has to be opened both in read and write mode, so I write R plus here. You can also write W plus here, that means read as well as write. Okay, and since it's a text file, so we do not need to specify any other character in the access mode. Now coming to part B, we have to open a binary file called bfile.dat in the write mode. So we create a file object. The name of these objects you can give by your choice. There is no compulsion on what to write. Then you call the open function, you write the name of the file that you want to open, and you write the access mode. Since this binary file has to be opened in write mode, I specify W, and since it's a binary file, I specify B. Okay, otherwise the default case of opening files is in the text mode, and we do not need to specify any other character for it. This third part says open a text file called try.txt in append and read mode. So I call the file object text file and call the open function, give the name of the file try.txt, and the access mode is A plus. A means append, plus means read. Read and append, both modes will be allowed on this text file. The next is open a binary file called btry.dat in read-only mode. So I've given the name of the file object as bin file. I call the open function, write the name btry.dat, and the access mode is read. And since it's a binary file, so it is RB. Okay. Coming to the next question. Why is it advised to close a file after we are done with the read and write operations? And what will happen if we do not close a file? Will some error message be flashed? Okay, so it is advised to close a file because whenever you open a file and associate a file handle with it, some memory is allocated for that file, for that corresponding file handle, and once you close the file, all that memory gets released. So it will be easier for the Python interpreter to allow and allocate other objects to use that memory. Okay, now if you do not close a file, the file handle will automatically be destroyed, or the file will automatically be closed at the end of the program, or if the file handle is assigned to some other file. Okay, and no kind of error message will be flashed if you do not close a file. But if you are performing a write operation and you have written some contents on the file, those contents will be reflected into the file. Those contents will be written to the file only when the close call is encountered, only when the file is closed. So you need to take that care that do you actually need to close the file right there after performing all the operations, or you can take the risk of just not writing the close function. But it is a good practice to close the files once you are done. Okay, coming to the next question. What is the difference between the following set of statements A and B? So the A part says that it is opening a file called practice.txt in read mode. It is a text file, and it is calling the read function and specifying the argument 10 here. So what will happen is that this read function will read 10 characters from this file, and if you want to display those characters, you can display those characters. But in the second part, so in the first part, there is no explicit closing statement. So the file will not be closed and only 10 characters will be read from the file. Okay, but in the second part, you are using the with open clause. And what does with open does? With open will lead to automatically closing of the file once all the operations are done and once the control is transferred outside the with clause. Okay, so in this case also, the text file practice.txt is being opened in the read mode, and here the read operation does not have any argument. So the entire contents of this file will be read and saved in the variable x. Okay, it will be returned, and those contents will be present in the variable x. The file will be automatically closed after the control comes outside the with clause. Okay, and since there is no argument, so all the contents will be read. So this is the difference between the two statements. First statement is about first difference is about the number of characters that will be read, and the second is with the close call, the closing of the file. Okay, coming to the next question. In the next question, you are asked to write a command or commands to write the following lines to the text file named hello.txt. assume that the file is opened in the append mode, and these are the lines that you have to write. So I've written a small set of code here. So what I'm doing is I am opening this text file hello.txt in the append mode, okay, and I'm assigning the file handle and naming it my file, which is associated with this file hello.txt, which is opened in the append mode. Now I'm creating a list named lines. This list will contain 3 elements. Now each of these elements will be the string that are given to us in the question, okay. So these are the 3 strings that will become the elements of these lists, and each element I have appended the new line character at the end, because as you can see, we want that each of these strings is written in a separate line. So we need to associate the new line character of at the end of each of these strings, especially the first 2 strings, okay. So I have appended the new line character or the /n character at the end of each of these strings that are the elements of the list. Now I use the write lines function to write this list and all its elements into the file associated with the file handle my file, and then I close the file, okay. So when you perform this function, you will get a file something like this. This is the hello.txt file, and when you execute the commands, the file will contain three lines, 3 strings. Welcome my class, it is a fun place, and you will learn and play, okay. So this is how you can perform the append operation in the file hello.txt. Now coming to the next question says, write a Python program to open the file hello.txt that is used in the previous question and read the contents, display its contents after opening it in the read mode, okay. And what is the difference if the file was opened in the write mode instead of the append mode? Now, since this particular file did not exist before, so originally if you are writing for the first time, there will be no difference whether you use the append mode or the write mode. But if you are writing it multiple times, if you are performing the same operation multiple times, then in the case of write mode, every time the contents will be overwritten, the previous contents will be deleted and new contents will be overwritten. But in the case of append mode, the new contents will be added at the end of the existing contents, okay. So this was the answer for the second part of the question. Now coming to the first part of the question, that we have to open the file in the read mode. So I give this command where I'm opening the file hello.txt, I'm specifying the read mode, and I'm associating the file handle my file to it. Now I want to read all the lines from this file, so I use the variable lines and read my file dot read. Sorry, I form the operation my file dot read. Since I have not specified any argument to the read function, so all the lines, all the contents will be read and saved in the variable lines. I print this variable lines and then I close the file. So you can reverse these 2 statements also, it won't make a difference. So what do I get as the printed result? Welcome my class, it is a fun place, you'll learn and play. So these are the contents of the file. Since the file had 3 lines, each of them were saved with a /n character at the end. That is why in the file also the /n character would be written, and when you are retrieving it, they would come in the exact same manner as you wrote them, that is in separate lines, okay. All right, coming to the last question, I guess. Yes, oh, not the last question. Okay, so in this question, you have to write a program to accept strings or sentences from the user till the user enters the word end in the caps. Okay, now you have to save the data that the user is entering in a text file, and then once the user enters end, you have to display only those sentences which begin with an uppercase alphabet. So I've written the entire code for you here. I've created a file named myfile.txt. Since we have to write in the text file, I have specified the W mode, and then what I have done, whatever lines the user will be entering, I will be saving all those contents in a list called lines, and to check whether the user wants to enter more lines or not, I have maintained a variable flag, which is initially true. True means the user wants to enter the lines as of now, and once this variable becomes false, the value of this variable will be changed to false. I'll assign that in the code. Now let's see what is happening. So while flag means while the value of the flag is true, initially it is true, so we'll enter the while loop. We'll ask the user, enter your sentence. Then the user will enter the sentence. Since it is a string, so we are not performing any type conversion, and we are storing the user input in this variable user underscore input. Now then we check if the user has input the string end, then execute the else part. Otherwise, if the user has not yet entered the string end, append the user input to the list lines and first perform the concatenation operation. So first I'm adding the new line character with every user input that we are getting from the user, and then I am appending it to the lines list. Why I am doing this? Because I want in the text file the data should be present. Every line should be present in a separate line. Every line should be ended with a new line. So I cannot expect the user to enter the /n character. I am appending it explicitly here. Okay, so as long as the user does not enter the string end, user input will be taken and it will be added to the lines list as an element. Okay, now if the user enters the enters the word end, what will happen is the flag will become false. So in the next iteration, when this condition will be checked, it will become false and this loop will end. Okay, so no more asking the user for more input, and that is what we want. So once the user enters end, we will write all the contents into the file. For this we are using the writeLines function, and then we'll close the file. Now once the user has entered all the contents, I'm reading from the file. So for that I will first have to open the file in the read mode, and I'll read all the lines that are present in the file in the variable named txt, text. Okay, now what I'm doing is for all the lines, so this variable text will contain a list. Okay, and each element of the list has to be checked if the element begins with the uppercase character. So if the starting letter of each element of this list text is an uppercase character, then we'll have to print it. Otherwise we'll skip it. We'll move to the next element and check it, and last we'll close the file. So let's see here what happens. So let's execute this again. First, since while is true because the flag is initially true, so I'm asked to enter the sentence. So I write say YouTube channel. Okay, and this is then I enter next. Since it is not the string end, so it again I am asked, the while loop is executed again because the flag is again true. So now I write mind your exam. Then I again press enter, and let's say that I want to end here. So I type the word end, and then it has not asked me to enter again, and it has displayed the line which was starting with a capital letter. Okay, because out of these two lines that were written, only the first line YouTube channel was written in the capital first case. Okay, so only the first character of this line was capital. So let's try something again. Let's say mind your and exam and then something channel. Okay, so next time I enter word end and see, you are getting only those lines which are beginning with a capital case character. Okay, so is upper function is working, and you are not getting the line which contained the character, the word your, because it had a lowercase character in the beginning. Okay, coming to the next question, define pickling in Python. So pickling is the process of serializing and deserializing. Now the next part asks you what is serializing and deserialization of Python objects. So I have created a separate video. I'll give the link below also. So serialization means converting Python objects into byte streams and writing them, rather dumping them into binary files. And deserialization means retrieving the byte streams from the binary files and loading them back into their original Python object structure and value. Okay. Coming to the last question. Finally, write a program to enter the following records in a file, in a binary file, and the number of records to be entered should be accepted from the user. And then after taking all those records, we have to read the file to display the records in the following format. So each time we have to ask the user for all these values, the value item number, which should be an integer. Then we have to write the value item name, which should be again a string. Quantity should be an integer, price should be a float, and then we have to print everything like this and calculate the amount, which is calculated as price into quantity. So we are using the pickle module here because every time we take all these 4 values from the user, we will convert it into a dictionary object and pickle it and put it into the file, into the binary file. Okay, so let's see what is happening. So we have imported the pickle object and created a new file called myfile.dat, because we are working with pickle, and since we want to dump into the file, we want to write to the file, so I have written the mode WB. So now the while loop has been used. This loop will continue as soon as the condition becomes false. So since there is no checking here, we'll have to break from the loop inside it only. So we are writing a condition there also. So let's see what is happening inside the loop. We are creating a dictionary. Every time, in every iteration, we are creating a new dictionary. And we are asking the user for the 4 values: item number, which has to be converted to an int; item name, since it does not have to be an integer, it has to be a string, so we are not explicitly converting it; the quantity has to be converted; the price has to be converted into float. So we are taking the input from the user and converting it, typecasting them into their appropriate data types. Now once we have all those values stored in these variables, we are creating a dictionary using these variables, and the keys for that dictionary are item number, and their corresponding value is the variable in which we just entered the value, just took the value from the user. So in the dictionary, we have 4 key value pairs. The first key value pair has the key item number and its corresponding value. The second key is item name, which is known as, which has a corresponding value of item name taken from the user, and similarly the third and the fourth key value pairs have the keys quantity and price respectively. Now this dictionary, which contains 4 key value pairs or 4 items, has been dumped in the my file, in the binary file. Okay, now we ask the user, do you want to enter more of such information, more of such items? Okay, so if the user enters no, then we will break from this loop. Otherwise, if the user enters anything else, or especially a yes, then we'll continue creating such objects, dictionaries, and then dumping into the pickle file or the binary file. Okay, now once we are done taking the input from the user, we will again open this file. Now we'll open it in the read binary mode. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to read all those objects, the pickled objects, from the file. So we are using a while loop and we are loading from this file. Every time one object will be loaded and it will be saved in the dictionary. Now how we will access each item of the dictionary? We will use a dictionary and its corresponding key, and we will print all these values. Now to calculate the last value amount, we are performing the multiplication of the dictionary values, quantity and price. Okay, now why we have put this entire code in the try block? Because there will come a time when the file associated, the binary file, my mye file dot dat will have no content when the end of file will be reached. So in that case, the end of file error will arise if you do not write any other condition here. So we do not want any such error. So when that error or exception arises, it will go to the except block, and there a single print statement has been written. So a new line will be printed, and finally this clause will be executed and the file will be closed. Okay, so let's execute it. Let's first enter item number 1. Let's enter the name of the item as pen and quantity 5, and the price of each item is 10. So do you want to continue? Yes. Now I'm entering item number 2. Let it be a pencil, and I want 10 pencils, each having value, say 5 rupees. I don't know if 5 rupees is okay, but yeah, I do not want to continue anymore, so I type N. Now see, after typing N, all these items are displayed one by one. The first item is displayed, and this, its amount is calculated, which is price into quantity. 5 into 10 is 50. Next time also we are displaying the second item, and the price is calculated, the amount is calculated, price into quantity, so it is the same. So that is how this program will work. Okay, so that is all for the back exercises for file handling. It was a lot, but I hope you have understood all these concepts. You can definitely look into the description box at the below the video title, and you'll find all the links for each of these questions, and you can refer to the playlist also for class 12th and class 11th NCERT computer science. You'll definitely get some more idea in detail for each of the concepts discussed here. Thank you for watching. Till we meet in the next video. Mind your exam.